folders for these,
Mm-hmm.
in case they have questions.
Yeah, it's all these right here.
Okay.
The only one I don't have is
After we finish up,
what I have
I'll see if I can swap the agent price.
Oh, for that, yeah, we did folders for these administrative ones.
Or so, please silence all your electronic devices so as not to disturb us.
I'll let them know to reach out to you before.
Okay.
Playing their
All right.
Okay.
All right, I call to order the Planning and Zoning Board meeting, City of Lake City. Tonight's date is 10th of June, 2025. Will all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty, with justice for all. Ms. Mayor?
Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight, thanking and praising you for another day, how you watched over us and kept us safe all through the day. We thank you for this meeting that we are about to go into. We ask that you give us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Help us to work together and pleasing you to your will, God, and we ask that you bless each and every one family that's represented here. Look on our first responders and meet their needs. In Jesus' name, we give you praise, honor, and glory. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. You may be seated. Mr. Angelo, roll call if you would.
Miss McCullum,
Here.
Miss Wilson, Miss Douglas,
Here.
Miss Johnson,
Here.
Miss Adams, Mr. Carlucci,
Here.
Mr. Leidig.
Present. All right, we have quorum. Electronically, the meeting minutes from our May 13th, 2025 meeting were distributed through the city email server to all members. I trust everyone has had the opportunity to look those over. At this time, are there any additions, corrections, or deletions to those minutes as electronically submitted? Hearing and seeing none, do we have a motion for their adoption?
Move to adopt.
Second.
We have a motion and a second by hand sign. All in favor of adopting the minutes? Hands down. Likewise opposed? All right, approved by the sign of the gavel. There being no old business to come before this board, we move to new business for the evening. Tonight we have two matters before us that must be considered and voted upon by the Planning and Zoning Board in a quasi-judicial manner. These two items are, first, SPR 25-02, being a petition for a site plan review accompanied by resolution number 2025 PZSP02, approving an application by Jamel Real Estate Holdings, LLC, a Florida limited liability corporate company, submitted by its president, Jeffrey Scott, for approval of a site plan for an AutoZone retail store within a commercial intensive zoning district located upon Columbia County parcel 02461-007, regulated by section 4.13 of Land Development Regulations, City of Lake City. Second item will be petition SPR 25-05, a petition for a site plan review accompanied by resolution number 2025 PZSP05, approving an application by Odom Moses and Company, LLP, a limited liability partnership submitted by its agent Lance Jones, for approval of a site plan for expanding the Odom Moses and Company building within the commercial intensive zoning district located upon parcel 02461-506, regulated by section 4.13 Land Development Regulations, City of Lake City. So at this point, I'm going to turn to the city attorney to run through the procedures to be used in these quasi-judicial hearings and to inquire of the members of the board regarding any ex parte communications which may or may not have occurred. Attorney Martin? What, you can't talk over a siren?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. The purpose of the following procedure is to ensure an applicant provides a complete presentation of their request to the board prior to any testimony being provided by staff, so the applicant receives a fair and full hearing on their application, and any decision made by the board is based on evidence presented. All public testimony will be taken under oath, and everyone testifying will be subject to cross-examination. All documents and exhibits shall be entered into the evidence. The giving of opinion testimony is limited to experts, and closing arguments is limited to evidence on the record. To accomplish this, the city, the applicant, the Planning and Zoning Board, and other parties will be recognized in the following order. First, we'll hear presentations from the city, the applicant, and any party interveners. Then we'll hear public comment. Following that, the parties may cross-examine each other if they find it necessary to do so. After that, the chairman may allow additional response by a participant in the interest of fairness if he sees fit to do so. Once we've done that, then the board can ask questions of any of the participants or speakers or others offering comment. We'll then proceed to any final arguments anyone may wish to make. I'll then advise the board as to the law and necessary findings, and then the board will deliberate and vote. All persons have the right through the chairman to ask questions of staff or other speakers and to seek clarifications of comments made by staff or other speakers. All individuals presenting written materials to the board for consideration must ensure a copy of those materials is presented to the clerk for inclusion in the board's record of proceedings and official minutes. While the Planning and Zoning Board welcomes comments from all persons with an interest in the proceeding, Florida law requires the board's decision in quasi-judicial actions be supported by competent substantial evidence presented to the board during the hearing. Competent substantial evidence is evidence a reasonable mind would accept as adequate to support a conclusion. There must be a factual basis in the record to support opinion testimony from both expert and non-expert witnesses. People presenting testimony may support their testimony by relying on factual information provided by city staff, the applicant, or other information included in the city staff report. At this time, I need to inquire of each member of the board individually if they have received any ex parte communications involving any of these matters, and if so, to please disclose them. Mr. Carlucci, have you had any ex parte communications regarding any of these matters?
No, sir.
Ms. Johnson?
No.
Ms. McCallum?
No.
Vice Chair Douglas?
No.
And Chair Leidick?
Only those necessary in the preparation of tonight's agenda with the Department of Growth Management.
Okay, and those would not have any impact on your ability to render an impartial decision?
Would not.
Okay, thank you. As mentioned, all testimony tonight in the hearing would be offered under oath. For those who are offering sworn testimony tonight, could you stand and raise your right hand, please? For those who are presenting, Mr. Angelo, Mr. Thomason, yes. Do you each swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Board members, you have before you proposed resolution 2025 PZSP02, which states a resolution of the Planning and Zoning Board of the City of Lake City, Florida, approving an application of Jamal Real Estate Holdings LLC, a Florida limited liability company, submitted by its president, Jeffrey Scott, for approval of a site plan for a proposed retail store within the corporate limits of the City of Lake City, Florida, identifying said lands by the 2025 Columbia County Tax Parcel Identification Number 34-3S16-02461-007, repealing all resolutions in conflict and providing an effective date. Mr. Chair?
Very nice, thank you. All right, Mr. Angelo, please introduce, summarize, and present city staff analysis of application SPR 25-02 and its proposed resolution 2025 PZ SP02.
All right. So we have SPR 25-02 for parcel, the parcel number is 2461-007 and currently has a future land use of commercial and has a zoning of commercial intensive. The applicants are seeking a site plan approval for a new construction AutoZone store. The site will will have one ingress egress onto Highway 90. The original conceptual plan that they had two, one coming off the residential street. We worked with them and eliminated that one, and now they have just the one off of Highway 90. The site will have a landscape buffer on the northeast side, about 150 feet long, to abut to the residential district across the street. Right here's a site plan, as you can see. So the ingress egress is there off to the bottom of the screen there is where they'll have the ingress egress. The other one was where the building is sitting. Then we're going to have it coming off there and have the building on the other side, but then they redesigned the site to accommodate. And then the residential buffer will go from here all the way up to the other side there. And one of the comments that the city utilities had was the utilities right through here, they wanted to make sure that these got protected. So what we work with AutoZone with the utilities department is to lower this utility line down below our utilities. That way it would protect our city utilities. So here's the location of the property. You can see it's pretty much commercial intensive all the way around, with the exception of the residential office to the north and then the residential single family off to the east here, and this is where the landscape buffer will be. Going through the staff review, planning, we just said that they need the landscape buffer. We talked about the utilities, the concern that they have with protecting the utilities there, and then there was no response from the DOT, but they will need to be permitted through DOT to get the entrance off of there. And according to Swanee River Water Management, they do have an ERP permit, and there's the permit number listed there. And it is staff's recommendation that it is compliant with the comprehensive plan, along with the land development regulations, and our recommendation is to approve SPR 25-02. And that's it.
All right. Will you
are
be
you-
moving your evidence into?
Yes.
There you go.
I'm starting to anticipate you, Dan.
Thank you.
Very nice. This time, do we have a representative from the applicant that would like to come and speak? Yes. Please approach. All right, name and legal address of record for Mr. Angelo?
Hi, good evening. My name is Mahesh Pokhrel. I'm project engineer for CPS. I am now representing AutoZone's project.
Okay. And you have his address already? Very nice.
My address is, do you need official address, right? Yeah. 5601 Mariner Street, Suite 105, Tampa, Florida 33609.
All right, the floor is yours.
Yep. Thank you so much, Robert Angelo. He presented almost all of the details of the project.
We have plans on our pads. We're good. Thank you, though.
So, yeah, most of the components Robert already presented. So, this project is located at northwest corner of US 90 and Forest Meadows Wave, and yeah, all the plan sets are included with the comments and which complies with the city's codes and regulations and comprehensive plan as well. So yeah, the project includes parking spaces, the AutoZone retail building, which is 7,381 square feet, and the number of parking spaces, proposed numbers are as per the city regulations. So I think I would like to request this petition for the approval.
Very nice. Anything else?
I don't have anything.
All right, you'll get a couple more opportunities. Feel free to
Thank
have
you.
a seat.
Thank you.
All right. Seeing we have no parties intervener present this evening, at this point I will open up the floor to public comment, either from individuals or representatives representing groups of 6 or more individuals. Show of hands, do we have anyone from the public that would like to speak on petition SPR 25-02 at this time? Hearing and seeing none. At this time, would the applicant like to cross-examine any of what the city had to say in their introduction?
No.
Very nice. We have no parties intervener in this case. City, any desire to cross-examine any witnesses?
No, sir.
Very nice. At this point, we'll open it up for questions from the Planning and Zoning Board to the applicant and the city. Do we have any questions from members of the board? I've just got one. Mr. Angelo, the set of plans that went into the evidentiary record, have they already had the recommended changes for the utility corridor at the rear? Or will
Yes.
those have to be submitted later?
No, the depths are not on the site plan. The depths will come when they do the actual building permit and construction plans. That's when you'll really see that, but that'll be reviewed by the building official and the utility department at that time.
Okay.
And but they did make the notes and changes on the site plan.
And then for the addition of the vegetation screening at the rear of the property, will a new set of plans have to be submitted for that, or can we vote on what's in front of us contingent upon the reception of an updated set of plans?
My recommendation would be to make that a conditional approval, and that based on it, as long as they put that. They put it in the site plan whenever they were reviewing it, but it's not in that one showing the 150 foot. And that's why I would put that as a conditional approval.
Okay. And when the new version shows up, it'll be entered into the evidentiary record
Yes.
for Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, if I may, for the applicant, do we know if the applicant's plans that he brought with him shows that buffer? Because if it does, we may be able to accept those in the record and base the
We can do that.
decision on those plans if we want to take just a moment for him to submit them for you to look at.
Yeah. We can do that.
If you,
You want to bring,
if you could show the plans you've got to Mr. Angelo and let him take a look.
okay. About the landscape buffer one here. Yes, Mr. Chair, on page C, 1.3 of the site plan that he is showing us does have that change on it.
Okay. Do you want to give that an exhibit number and make sure it gets routed to Mr. Martin for
Yes,
the
we'll-
evidentiary file?
We'll label it as Exhibit A.
Okay, and are we able to retain that document? Can we keep that set of plans?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Angelo, just for reference, what is the date on that rendering of the plans or version number? So,
5/28/2025.
okay, thank you. So, Mr. Chairman, if the board did want to approve them contingent on that, I would suggest approving them based on the May 28th, 2025 version of the plan submitted as Exhibit A, I believe it was, at the hearing tonight. And then that way we could reference back to that.
All right, I made a note of it.
All right, thank you.
All right, any additional questions from members of the Planning and Zoning Board for either the city or the applicant? All right, seeing and hearing none, at this time, do any of the parties wish to offer final arguments in this matter? Applicant? City?
No, sir.
All right. Mr. Martin?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The decision of the board should be based on the evidence provided by sworn witnesses. In addition, the board may make its decision after taking into consideration those matters listed in section 13.11.3 of the city's land development regulations. At this time, the board may discuss the application, testimony, and any findings of fact upon which it wishes to base its decision, and vote on the proposed resolution following an appropriate motion and second to adopt resolution number 2025 PZSP02 as read by title only, and as discussed, if the board wished to do so, could also direct staff to include that the approval and that the resolution be amended to include a reference back to the May 28th plans that were submitted as Exhibit A at the hearing.
Very nice. All right, at this time, do we have any discussion from members of the board in this matter? I do have to say, the residents of that neighborhood will have all the auto parts they need.
Yes.
I do believe there's another one on the opposite corner.
Right
Yeah,
across
you
the
have
street.
O'Reilly's right across the street.
I thought that was kind of dirty.
All right, there being no discussion on this matter amongst members of the board, do we have a motion to either approve, disapprove, or approve contingent on the May 28th, 2025 plans labeled Exhibit A? The petition in front of us, as referenced by Resolution 2025 PZSP02, is read by title.
Move to approve SPR 25-02 based on the plans from 5/28/25 labeled as Exhibit A.
Second.
Very nice. We have a motion and a second. Mr. Angelo, please call the yeas and the nays.
Ms. McCullum,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson, Ms. Douglas,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Carlucci,
Yes.
and Mr. Leidick.
Yes. All right, we have approval for petition SPR 25-02. All right, next item of business. Mr. Martin?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Board members, you have before you now proposed resolution 2025 PZSP05, which states resolution of the Planning and Zoning Board of the City of Lake City, Florida, approving an application of Jones Engineering and Consulting LLC, a Florida Limited Liability Company, submitted by its agent Lance Jones for approval of a site plan for an expansion of the existing building within the corporate limits of the City of Lake City, Florida, identifying said lands by the 2025 Columbia County Tax Parcel Identification Number 34 3S1602461506, repealing all resolutions in conflict and providing an effective date. Mr. Chair.
All right, Mr. Angelo, at this time, please give us an introduction and a summary of SPR 25-05 on behalf of City of Lake City.
All right. So this is SPR 25-05, and it is for parcel number 2461-506, and it has a future land use of commercial and a zoning of commercial intensive. And this site was just recently rezoned to take it from the county designation to the city designation. The applicants are seeking for a site plan approval for an expansion of the existing facility, so that the use will not change, just adding on to the existing. And here is a copy of the site plan. As you can see, the new building will be right here to the north of the existing building. And then the light gray here is the existing parking. And then the dark gray will be the additional parking that they will be adding. And so we work with the applicant on the parking, along with, there was utility lines that will need to be rerouted. And, but we work with the utility department on that, and all that will be done at the time of building. There's a little bit larger view of the building there. As you can see, the location here is it's surrounded by commercial intensive to the east and to the south, commercial highway interchange county to the west, and then residential office to the north. Staff's recommendation or staff's review, the site plan for the planning. The parcel was recently rezoned from to CI from CHI County to allow for the changes in the CHI County and our city CHI. The reason we went with that was city CI would not allow the setbacks that they needed, and that so it needed to be switched to CI. And that's why we went to that. Distribution and collections, we work with Brian Scott, with the utility director and applicant for the utility concerns of where the building was going, and got all that resolved. There was no response from DOT, and according to Swanee River Water Management, there is an existing ERP permit for the site. It was the staff's recommendation that it is consistent with the comprehensive plan and the land development regulations, and it's staff's recommendation to approve SPR 25-05. And I want to move my presentation in the record.
Very nice.
And the application as well.
Yeah, and the application as well.
Very nice. All right, at this time, we'll hear a presentation from a representative for the applicant, Lance Jones, acting as agent for Odom Moses and Company, LLP. All right, name with spelling and legal address of record for Mr. Angelo, please.
Lance Jones, LANCE-JONES, 855 Southwest Bay Drive, Lake City, Florida, 32055.
All right, the floor is yours.
Okay, I don't have a whole lot to add. Robert does a good job of showing everything. I don't know if we could bring back up the screen real quick, the presentation for the site plan. So Odom Moses, they're a financial company. They're located next to the First Federal Savings Bank. They're looking to expand. You know, they do taxes and they also do financial planning. So I think they're kind of trying to break up businesses. This is for 17 additional offices. Developed everything in accordance with the LDRs, with the added parking and things. The site was made a little bit more difficult because of the two existing trees you see there in the northwest. We're trying to protect those. They're really nice, older grandfather live oaks back there. And then there was an existing utility line that was run through the middle of the site, so we had to work with the City of Utilities to reroute that, City of Lake City Utilities. And then also had to submit the rezoning and the land use changes, but basically just looking to construct a new building. And I'm here for any questions you have about the development. So thank you.
All right, thank you. All right. Seeing as we have no parties intervener in this matter, at this time I'm going to open up the floor. If there's any members of the public either representing themselves individually or acting as a representative for groups of 5 or more, please raise your hand if you would like to make public comment on petition SPR 25-05 at this time. All right, seeing none. At this point in time, Mr. Jones, would you like to cross-examine Mr. Angelo for any reason?
No, sir.
Mr. Angelo, same question?
No, sir.
Very nice. Questions from the Planning and Zoning Board for the applicant or for city staff? Anyone have anything?
None.
Seeing and hearing none, at this time, would the applicant like to make any final arguments in this matter?
No, sir.
City, same question?
No, sir.
All right, making my job easy. All right, Mr. Martin, floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The decision of the board should be based only on evidence provided by sworn witnesses. In addition, the board may make its decision after taking into consideration those matters listed in section 13.11.3 of the city's land development regulations. At this time, the board may discuss the application testimony and any findings of fact upon which it wishes to base its decision, and vote on the proposed resolution following an appropriate motion and second to adopt resolution number 2025 PZSP 05 as read by title only.
Thank you. At this time, do we have any discussion amongst members of the board in reference to petition SPR 25-05 or its accompanying resolution number 2025 PZSP05? All right, at this time, there being none, do we have a motion to either approve or disapprove petition SPR 25-05 by its accompanying resolution number 2025 PZSP05?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve with a second from Ms. Johnson. Mr. Angelo, will you please call the yeas and the nays?
Ms. McCullum,
Yes.
Ms. Douglas,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Calucci,
Yes.
and Mr. Leidig.
Yes. Unanimously, we have approval for petition SPR 25-05. Congratulations. At this time, we are concluded with our new business for the evening. Do we have any workshop items that need to be brought up for the betterment of the board or upcoming activities for the board? Mr. Angelo, do you have anything?
No, sir.
Mr. Martin, do you have anything?
No, Mr. Chair.
All right, any workshop-related items from members of the board? All right, in that case, do we have a motion to adjourn planning and zoning?
Move to adjourn. Second.
We have a motion and a second by hand sign for adjournment. Yay. Hands down. Likewise opposed. Meeting adjourned. This time, I'll call to order Board of Adjustment, City of Lake City. Date shall remain the same. Roll call shall remain the same. Electronically, we had distributed the meeting minutes from our May 13th, 2025 meeting to all members of the board through official city email server channels. I trust everyone had the opportunity to review those minutes as electronically submitted. At this time, do we have any additions, corrections, or deletions to the minutes as they were submitted and distributed? Hearing and seeing none, do I have a motion for their adoption?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Ms. McCollum, Ms. Douglas. We have a motion and a second by hand sign. In favor? Hands down. Like sign opposed. Minutes are approved by the sound of the gavel. Before us tonight, we have no old business. We have no new business. Similar to planning and zoning, do we have any workshop-related issues as it relates to the Board of Adjustment for the City of Lake City? Mr. Angelo, do you have anything?
No, sir.
Members of the board, does anyone have anything? Mr. Martin, do you have anything?
No, Mr. Chair.
Very nice. At this time, do we have a motion to adjourn Board of Adjustment?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Ms. McCollum, Mr. Carlucci. By hand sign, all in favor? Hands down, like sign opposed. Board of Adjustment stands adjourned. This time I'll call to order Historic Preservation Agency, City of Lake City. Date shall remain the same. Roll call shall remain the same. Electronically, the meeting minutes for our May 13th, 2025 session were electronically distributed through city email servers. I trust that everyone had the opportunity to read through those as electronically submitted. This time, do we have any additions, corrections, or deletions that were noted? Hearing and seeing none, do we have a motion for their adoption?
Move to adopt minutes.
Second.
Douglas, and who jumped in there first? All right, Mr. Carlucci on the second. Approval of the minutes by hand sign. In favor? Hands down. Like sign opposed. Minutes are approved by the sound of the gavel. We have no old business to come before the HPA. We have no new business to come before the HPA other than a briefing from Mr. Angelo on the administratively approved minor projects as regulated by Section 10 of the Land Development Regulations. And I noticed there was no agenda packet that went out.
Yeah, Mr. Carlucci was saying that. I don't know why it didn't go out with it. And because usually I attach it with the packet. I must have sent it just direct or agenda, not the packet itself.
Okay. By any chance, do you have graphics of what you're going to be talking about?
I do not,
We're not allowed to
unfortunately.
drive by these properties anymore, according to
Yeah,
what
and
we're told.
Yeah, unfortunately, I do not have any graphics for it, and I apologize for the inconvenience on that. But I'll run through them, kind of give you a narrative of what happened with the properties. So on the first one is for 268 Southeast Camp Street, and it's COA 25-10. That one, they were repairing the siding, repainting the same color, and replacing the gutters with new gutters of the same color and style. And they were also repairing the soffit and fascia, installing new soffit on the front porch. And so all consistent color, all same material and style, so everything's kind of stayed the same. More or less just all maintenance. And that was the first one. Next one is 25-11.
Can you hold up for a sec? For the record, do I need to indicate that that's my house?
Since there is no action being taken by the board, no, there's no need. But
Okay.
since you mentioned it, it is.
All right, so the next one is COA 25-11. That one is for 403 Southeast St. John Street. That one, they are replacing the existing shingle roof with a new Galvalume metal roof. And so still consistent with the homes that are already in the district, and going a little bit more consistent to what, going from a regular shingle to the metal.
Now, generally speaking, when we're shifting a material in its entirety on a roof, that'd usually come before the board, right?
But in the LDR in section 10, it talks about metal roofs in there. And it says if they're within consistency of the district, it's under the consent agenda or under the minor.
Even if it's a totally different material and a totally different roofing?
Yeah, it didn't specify whether you're replacing from an existing, like shingle, metal, wood, anything like that. It doesn't say, talk about the change in materials. It just says if you're putting a metal roof on, and it's consistent with the other homes in the area, that it's consistent.
Did we do that as a text amendment?
A while back in, I think, 2019.
Okay, and those versions are in our
Yes.
tabbed books? Okay, I'll take a look at that.
Okay. Next one is 25-13, and it is for 409 Southeast Brown Street. That one, they are looking to replace the existing shingle roof with a new shingle roof, same color. And it's really no change on that one. And then the next one is 25-14. That one is for 322 South Marion. And that one, they are removing a palm tree that is growing into the power lines. If you look at some of the pictures in the packet, well, I guess you can't see the packet. And with some of the some of the pictures in the packet, which if you wanted to, you could pull it up off the city website. There was an existing palm tree there at one point that they had cut down years ago that was up into the power line. And if you look at the picture, you'll see the palm tree that they're cutting was a lot shorter. Fast forward 2 years, and it's already up into the power line. And so it was one that needed to come down for safety reasons. And that is it.
All right, anything else from Mr. Angelo in reference to the administratively approved petitions?
I have a quick question. The house on St. John's where they're changing the roof, that's been done about 2 months, is that correct?
I don't know if it's 2 months, but it's been done for a little while.
Roughly, yeah, it's been
Yeah.
done for a while, yes?
Yes. Yeah, it was one that I had. I think I didn't have the application quick enough to get it on the last agenda. And as far as the approval, what we gave them, it was like right before the other meeting.
All right, anything else for Mr. Angelo in reference to the administrative determinations? All right, you may be seated.
Thank you.
All right, do we have any workshop items that need to be discussed as far as it relates to the business of the Historic Preservation Agency? Mr. Angelo?
No, sir.
All right, members of the board, anything to bring up under workshop? Mr. Martin?
Nothing, Mr. Chair.
Very nice. At this time, having passed through our regular order of business, do we have a motion to adjourn HPA, our third and final meeting of the evening?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Mr. Carlucci, Ms. McCollum? By hand sign, all in favor? Hands down. Like sign opposed? All right, we stand adjourned. Please cut the audio and the video.